It is just past 11 a.m. here in Lahore. This is Indus News. I'm Waqar Rizvi. These are this hour's top stories. The Organization of Islamic Cooperation has condemned India's aerial violation of the line of control. The OIC, in a statement issued after a meeting of its contact group on Kashmir in Jeddah, urged Pakistan and India to exercise restraint. The 57-member organization asked India and Pakistan to avoid any steps that would endanger peace and security in the region. The OIC encouraged both parties to seek a peaceful solution to the crisis created by India's aggression without resorting to use of force. Meanwhile, Pakistan's Prime Minister Imran Khan has directed the armed forces to remain prepared for all eventualities. Khan, tweeting after a meeting of the National Security Council, said that Pakistan will engage with global leaders to expose India's irresponsible policy. Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, addressing a press conference after the meeting, strongly rejected India's claims that its warplanes targeted an alleged terrorist camp. Qureshi said that India's government has once again resorted to a self-serving, reckless and fictitious claim. He said that India has carried out the air intrusion into Pakistan for domestic consumption just weeks before its general elections. Qureshi said that India's actions have put regional peace and stability at grave risk.
India has committed uncalled for aggression, to which Pakistan shall respond at the time and place of its choosing. PM has directed that all elements of national power, including the armed forces and the people of Pakistan, to remain prepared for all eventualities.
He said that the area near the northwest Pakistan town of Balakot, allegedly targeted by India's warplanes, is open for the world to see.
Time and place of it. The claimed area of strike is open for the world to see the facts on ground. For this, domestic and international media is being taken to the impact site.
Well, meanwhile, Pakistan has said that its civil and military leadership will decide the time and place of its response to India's airspace violation. Military spokesperson Major General Asif Ghafoor, in a press conference, said that Pakistan will surprise India with its response on the military, diplomatic and political fronts.
Now it is time for India to wait for our response. The response will come at the point and time of our choosing, where our civil military leadership decides and as a matter of fact has decided. It is your turn now to wait and get ready for our surprise.
Ghafoor challenged India to produce any satellite imagery evidence of its false claims of destroying a terrorist hideout. He said that not a single brick was destroyed, nor a single person hurt in India's so-called airstrike.
You will never be able to surprise us. We have not been surprised. We were ready, we responded, we denied. We will retain the escalation ladder. We have that initiative in our hand.
Ghafoor said that India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi did not intend to attack Pakistan's army, but sought only to create a smokescreen to boost his election campaign. He issued an open invitation to international observers to inspect the spot where India claims its jets dropped their payload. Ghafoor said that Pakistan would even allow Indians to visit the location so that they can return home and expose Modi's lies. He said that India has chosen a path of war without realizing the consequences on the peace and stability on the region.
We are a democracy. I said that two democracies, they do not fight. You have proved that you are not a democracy. You have chosen a path of war without knowing the consequences for the peace and stability in the region.
Now, in another development, Pakistan's President Arif Alvi has said that nobody in the region or anywhere else should think that they can harm Pakistan. Speaking at a conference in Islamabad, Alvi said that the resolve of Pakistan's armed forces is very strong and that they know how to protect the nation. He said that Pakistan has no bad intentions towards any country. Alvi said that Pakistan's armed forces have stopped terrorism and they can teach the world how to deal with this menace.
Today, let me tell you that the resolve of the armed forces of Pakistan has been very strong. This is the armed force which has stopped terrorism. This is a message beyond this audience. My armed forces have stopped terrorism. My armed forces are the most experienced as far as terrorism is concerned. My armed forces can teach the world how to handle it. They've laid down their lives of doing this. So let nobody in the region or anywhere else even think about the fact they can harm my country. We are a people protected by our armed forces, and we know how to protect our nation. We don't have any bad intention to any other country. But we know how to defend ourselves, ladies and gentlemen.
Well, on the diplomatic front, China and the European Union have urged India and Pakistan to exercise restraint in the wake of the intrusion of Indian warplanes into Azad Kashmir. The Chinese State Councillor Wang Yi, in a phone conversation with Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, said that Pakistan and India should resolve tensions through dialogue. According to a statement issued by Pakistan's Foreign Office, Wang asked Pakistan and India to avoid an escalation of the situation. He called on both sides to collaborate on fighting terrorism and to jointly safeguard the security and stability of South Asia. All right, we are now getting breaking news here at Indus News that 2 Indian jets have apparently crashed in Indian-occupied Kashmir. We are, of course, waiting for the details that will be coming out regarding that breaking news story. Obviously, we know the context of all of this is the Indian intrusion that occurred yesterday in Azad Kashmir in the Muzaffarabad sector. These images now, seemingly from what we've understood and what we've received here at Indus News, show the wreckage and the crash site of those 2 Indian jets. This very, of course, a fluid situation and developing story at this time, but from what we've understood, Indian media is also, from what I've understood now, I'm told, is also reporting on this and on these crashes of these 2 jets there in Indian-occupied Kashmir. At this time, obviously, it's early to speculate on what may have occurred here specifically as to why these jets may have crashed. But certainly, this is a significant development, keeping in mind, of course, what occurred yesterday. And, of course, just keeping in mind the sensitivity of that region, as well as what's been happening over the past week, really, ever since that incident in Pulwama. So let's just recount then what did occur yesterday. We know that Pakistan's military spokesman, Major General Asif Ghafoor, announced that Indian aircraft, Indian jets, intruded past the line of control into Azad Kashmir, into the Muzaffarabad sector, from what we've understood. Pakistani Air Force obviously responded immediately, and the Indian jets then had to scramble back. As we've heard already, and as I've read for the viewers in this broadcast as well, we've heard from all the way from Prime Minister Imran Khan to the military spokesman to the Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi, saying that Pakistan reserves the right to respond to this Indian intrusion into Pakistan at a time and place of its choosing, and in a fashion really of its choosing as well. And that, of course, is something that we're all seeking clarity on exactly what that means. But nevertheless, that is a legitimate claim to make, and Pakistan has said that from day one, that if there were to be any sort of Indian aggression or violations of the line of control, etc., that Pakistan would always reserve the right to respond to any such aggression and or intrusion. These images, again, that you're seeing on your screens right now are images, apparently, of a crash site. From what we've understood is, and I'm being told right now that the two pilots, apparently, of these jets have been killed at this point in time. This, of course, a fluid situation where information keeps coming in minute by minute. These images, of course, of that crash site there in Indian-occupied Kashmir, of these two Indian jets that have crashed there for reasons that we do not yet know. Of course, a significant development, as I said, considering yesterday's Indian intrusion into Azad Kashmir, into the Muzaffarabad sector. We know that, of course, there were no casualties and no damage because of yesterday's Indian intrusion, though the Indians, of course, claim otherwise. Pakistan has released images, in fact, of where the payloads did come down, saying that it was in an unpopulated area and that there were no casualties or damage to any infrastructure from what Pakistan has reported and has spoken of publicly. We know, of course, there's a number of ways to contextualize this current situation. Pakistan has also spoken about the fact that a lot of this goes back to internal Indian domestic politics, and for the BJP, that is the Bharatiya Janata Party, the ruling party of India, as well as Prime Minister Narendra Modi seeking to gain more votes through those actions that they carried out yesterday, as well as the anti-Pakistan hysteria, which has been building up, and they have built up really over the past week or so since that incident in Pulwama. All right, we're gonna speak now to defense analyst General Rahat Latif. General Latif, thank you for joining us here at Indus News. We appreciate your time. General Latif, what do you make of this breaking news story of these two Indian jets going down in Indian-occupied Kashmir? General Latif, if you can hear me, can you just tell us about what your thoughts are as we're getting this breaking news story about these two Indian jets crashing in Indian-occupied Kashmir? Okay, it seems that we may be having some audio difficulties there with that line with General Latif. Let me just remind our viewers once again of these images that we are seeing on our screens right now. We are getting these images now coming out of Indian-occupied Kashmir, where two Indian jets have apparently crashed. These images of the crash site. Let me try once again to go to General Rahat Latif. General Latif, thank you for joining us here at Indus News. I wanted to get your thoughts and your reaction to this breaking news story that we're hearing of now about these aircraft, these Indian aircraft that have crashed in Indian-occupied Kashmir. Okay, we do apologize for that. We seem to be having some slight technical difficulties. Let me just remind you again of these images that you're seeing right now on your screens. We are getting breaking news here at Indus News that two Indian jets have crashed in Indian-occupied Kashmir. These images, specifically, of the crash site itself. At this point in time, we're not speculating on what exactly has occurred here. We will wait and see for verified information about why these jets may have gone down. But obviously, there's a lot of important context here about yesterday's Indian intrusion into Azad Kashmir, and we will of course keep a very close eye on all those developments and others related to that intrusion yesterday by India. We'll leave it there for now, but thanks for staying with Indus News. Stay with us though. We'll continue to cover this story.